The gas pumps are dark. The digital ticket on Wall Street has been permanently unplugged. You hold $100 bill in your hand, and for the first time in your life, you realize that it is just a piece of green cotton. It's cotton by loaf or bread, and it centrally canon but a gallon of gasoline. The American emperor didn't rent which a mushroom, cloud or a fruit of foreign boomers darkening the sky. It ended in absolute silence which acquired Hans Carl halfway across the world. We are standing in the smoking wreckage of the greatest financial collapse in human history. The weapon that keeps the United States untouchable for 50 years didn't misfire. It was turned against its creator. Today I am going to tell you the story of the petrodollar, how a phantom mechanism engineered in the desert became the invisible hurdle that held the world hostage, and the terrifying reality of what happened when the prisoners finally broke the lock. To understand the ruins we stand in today, you have to look back to a time when the illusion was born. It was 1971 years. The US government had printed too much money to fund its endless wars, and foreign nationals were guaranteeing their psychical gold back. President Richard Nixon cornered and the parade surrounding the dollar tried to go. Overnight, the most powerful currency on earth was backed by absolutely nothing. It was a ghost. The system was on the verge of completely chaotic, but empires do not die easily. In 1974 years, American diplomats flew to the scourging desert of Saudi Arabia, which a proposition that will change the course of human history. The deal they struck in the showers was poor. Dark genius, the United States different, the Saudi role, family the ultimate mafia style, protection our dance at weapon, military intelligence, and the irrational cloud governance. That their dynasty would never fall. In exchange, the Saudis had to make one simple promise. They would only sell their oil in USA dollars. No other currency would ever be accepted. In that simple moment, the dollars was resurrected. It was no longer backed by shiny metal in a womb. It was backed by block blue. Think about the sheer, terrifying power of this mechanism. If a nation of Europe, Asia, or Africa wanted to keep their people from freezing in the winter, they needed oil. To buy that oil, that needed US dollars. This created a government artificial hunger for American paper. National exported their hard labor, their modified goods, their actually psychical worth to America. And in exchange, America gave them piece of green paper, so they could go to the Middle East and buy fuel. The entire planet was literally financial the American dream, just to keep their own lights on. But a weapon this powerful is intoxication, and intoxication always led to arrogance. Over the decades, the United States began using the petrodollars, not just as on economic shells, but as showers. If a country disappeared, Washington didn't need to send troops. They simply cut off their assets to the dollar. They froze central bank reserves. They closed entire economies from thousands of miles away which a single keystroke. The world's watched their friend, the invisible code was shrinking, and then comes the breaking point when the USA frees the assets of a major global power. A cold shiver ran tones for the national capital of the West. The rest of the world realized a horrifying truth. If your wealth is held in USA dollars, it isn't actually your wealth, it is permission, and permission can be revoked. And the shadows a revolution format, the BRICS, National Background Quality, allowing the plumbing for new financial order. Their hoarder psychical goal by the tone. They set up alternative payment system. They patently prepare for the day the world caps the war. Their climax didn't happen on battlefield. It happened at a quiet summit in the East. Saudi Arabia, the very cornerstone of the American financial power, casually announced it was open to accepting other currencies for its oil. And the moment that happened to the artificial demand for the USA dollar evaporated, and all those trillions of dollars sitting in foreign wallets, suddenly useless for bank energy, came rushing back to American shores like a financial tsunami. Hyperinflation wasn't a slow creep, it was an execution. The cost of everything in the USA skyrocketed. Really, the purchasing power of the dollar plummeted to zero. The ATMs ran dry. The credit markets froze. The music stopped. But here's the twist, the dark joke at the end of the world. As you stand here looking at your worthless digital bank account, you realize the greatest risk the system ever put. The people who engineered this collapse didn't just want to destroy the dollars. They wanted to expose the illusion of that money entirely. Really, the West was obsessed with financial engineering, stock buybacks, and printing endless digital zeros. The East was quietly accumulation the only thing that have ever truly mattered: gold, energy, and raw commodities. The crash didn't destroy wealth. Wealth is never destroyed. It transferred from the people who owned paper promise back to the people who owned the psychical earth. The petrodollar was a brilliant, beautiful lie. It confessed the world that paper was power, but the illusion was shared and cold. Hard reality has violently reasserted itself. Your toes, your money was real. Your toes, the system was unbreakable. But in the grand casino of global empires, the house just flipping the table. And as the light go out on the American financial century, you have to ask yourself one terrifying question. Now that the paper is burned, what do you actually own?